Welcome to my second trip during my visit in Bulgaria. Honestly, my camera completely broke down while I was there, but against all odds, I'm still here to share the highlights with you. I filmed the entire trip on my mobile phone. Hello dear friends, today I'm taking you on a long journey, approximately 180 kilometers to the south from Sofia and very close to the Greek border, so this is probably the hottest area of Bulgaria. We are going to visit the smallest town in Bulgaria, Melnik, which has frozen in time. There is a lot of history, and Melnik is also famous for the wine production, and you can buy some good wine over there. And on the way to Melnik, we are going to visit Zlatolist, which is a sanctuary. This is where the spiritual teacher of Baba Vanga lived. Baba Vanga is also in this area, but today we're not going to visit the place where she lived. We're visiting Zlatolist instead, and we will also visit the Rozhen Monastery, which is from the 13th century. So similarly to Vanga, Prepodobna Stoyna was blind, and she was a very, very powerful prophet, and even Vanga was sending people to her for healing. Unfortunately, most of the Orthodox churches do not allow filming inside the church, but there are some very interesting details, and I have taken a few pictures with my mobile. One very interesting detail is a painting of Maria Magdalena on the second floor. You won't see this in any other church. And on the first floor, you can see different paintings of different saints, and there is also an animal head in between. I'll show you. And I found this very interesting and unusual. Let me share a few pictures taken inside the church. It's interesting. The animal-headed figure is likely Saint Christopher, and the woman in the wild, well, the tour guide called her Mary Magdalene, but to me she looks more like Saint Mary of Egypt. Curiously, there were so many icons of Prepodobna Stoyna. She is treated as a saint here, even though the church hasn't officially given her that title. Although this church is officially dedicated to Saint George, the true energy here revolves around Stoyna, who lived and served in this very spot from 1912 until her passing in 1933. She was a famous healer and prophet, and that's why people keep coming back. They often stand on a special stone in front of the altar to pray, and some even stay the night believing in the church's healing powers. You can find her grave just outside. It's a quiet, special spot where many people still come to pay respects. The next place everyone heads to is this massive ancient tree in the garden. They say it's 1,300 years old. Who knows if that's true, but it has definitely seen a lot, judging by all the carvings on its bark. There is also a nice swing where you can sit for a moment and enjoy the space. I just want to touch and get some energy from the tree. Let's sit on there. You can swing. And now we are going to the well. You are supposed to leave all your worries and sins and all the negativity in this well. So let's get closer to it. This is where we let our negativity. We are now leaving Zlatolist and heading to Melnik, situated right at the foot of the Pirin Mountains. As we get closer, keep an eye on the window. You'll start seeing those iconic sand cliffs. It's actually a really interesting story. Millions of years ago, this was all the bottom of a massive lake. When the water drained away, rain and wind carved the leftover sediment into the shapes you see today. Plus, a fun fact, the name Melnik comes from an old Slavic word, mel, which just means white clay. As I mentioned earlier, Melnik is the smallest town in Bulgaria. There are only about 240 people living in Melnik, and I don't think they live constantly in Melnik. They are here seasonally because when you go to Melnik, you'll see mostly hotels and restaurants. It's mainly for the summer season. And Melnik is really famous with its wine. What is really typical for this wine is that it's sweet and it's very thick red wine, and it used to be the favorite wine of Winston Churchill, and every year he wanted to get some of this wine shipped to England. Melnik is a lovely town with nice traditional restaurants, a wine museum, and beautiful nature, but today we are only going to explore the Kordopulov house. This mansion is the most iconic landmark in Melnik. It's the largest house from the Bulgarian revival period. Built back in 1754 by a wealthy wine merchant, it stands as the most impressive house of its kind on the entire Balkan Peninsula. And it's amazing to think that this kind of wealth and local spirit was thriving here even during the final centuries of Ottoman rule.
Ето ви още едно хотелче. Пак така 90 години.
See that house high up on the cliff? That's our stop here in Melnik. It looks pretty imposing from down here, doesn't it? Let's head up and see what it's like inside.
Има страхотно вино долу, да знаете. Всичко е завършило много трагично за тези хора. Ще минем покрай гроба на Яне Сандански за Розhenския манастир. Да, това явно е тайника тук. Това нещо. Извинявайте, да. Да, тайника тук. Това явно било с затвора, но сега го няма. И ето го тайника, една стаичка. И можело тайно човек от тук да излезе през покрива. И различни сумки от различни места. Кordopulov има ето ще и те имали по 10 деца. И бил най-големият производител на вино. От Бухара, пътя на Куприната, днешен Узбекистан, килимите са докарани. Бухара, Самарканд, там е минал пътя на Куприната.
For an entry fee of just €5, you can wander through these rooms and feel like you've stepped back in time. Everything is so well preserved, from traditional Turkish-style living quarters to sleeping chambers. If you look closely at the cupboards in one of the rooms, you will spot a tainik, a secret hiding place built right into the walls. The story goes that these weren't just for hiding valuables or revolutionaries during dangerous times. They were used for spying. A trusted associate would hide inside as a spy to listen on important negotiations, signaling to the merchant whether a deal was worth signing.
Там и избрана специално се прави. Това е благодатен от Бога за най-хубавите вина и ски, което поддържа еднакви температури. Сега, вижте европейското влияние на Виена и Германия. Съседната на Османската империя, съжаление, ние сме попаднали в Османската империя.
The steps up were a bit of a climb, but I had to stop by the terrace. The view from up here is incredible. You've got this perfect panorama of the Melnik earth pyramids.
Внимателно слизаме долу. Ако иска някой по-подробно да чуе там за всички неща, моникаме да чуем. По-богата история. Заповядайте в избата долу.
The air in the wine cellar is instantly crisp and cool. It remains around 12 degrees year-round, which is perfect for wine aging. These tunnels were hand-carved into the sandstone during the period of 12 years, and they were used to store up to 300 tons of wine. Legend says the wine was so thick you could carry it in a towel. But this space served another purpose too. It was part of a secret network used for moving around safely during dangerous times. Walking through these narrow paths, you really feel how much history is tucked away right beneath the house. Look at the nature. It was supposed to rain, but actually it didn't rain. It's very hot. This is Saint Barbara. It's mainly ruins. These are the remains of a massive 13th century basilica. It's a shame this is all that is left, but it's a perfect reminder that Melnik is basically an open-air museum. So that over there is the house we explored, and it was pretty amazing, especially that wine cellar. But just a heads up, Melnik is a small town. It's beautiful, but don't expect a huge list of attractions or endless things to do. It's really the kind of place where you come to slow down and enjoy the vibe. Let me give you my opinion. Because I've been around, I've been to quite a lot of small towns with revival architecture. What I can say is that, yes, Melnik is impressive, there are interesting things to see, but there are much better places if you're going for the architecture. But it's a great place to stop by for a walk, to have lunch, or simply to buy a few bottles of wine to have at home. And a lot of Bulgarians are traveling to the Greek seaside, so normally they pass through Melnik. It's a great place to stop by, but if you're going specifically for the revival architecture, there are much better places like Etera, Boženci, Zlatograd, which one? Veliko Trnovo. Yeah, definitely I would recommend those places over Melnik. But if you love red wine, this is your place then. Do you see the sand cliffs? Our final destination is the Rozhen Monastery, and honestly, the path leading up to it is just as impressive as the destination itself. You are surrounded by these massive sand cliffs the entire way, and it really reveals the true beauty of this landscape. Along the path, you even pass the grave of the revolutionary Yane Sandanski, which is a powerful reminder of the history here. It's a bit of a hike, but arriving at the monastery is the perfect way to wrap up our time in Melnik. He was born in 1872 and died in 1915. Grazing. So the Rozhen Monastery is the largest monastery in the Pyrenees Mountains. It dates back to the 13th century and it has survived lots of fires, earthquakes and history. If you go inside, you can see a very special icon that is associated with a lot of miracles. And also there are a lot of wood carvings. And also what I found special are the wall paintings just before you enter the church. However, when you go inside, you're not allowed to film. I'm just about to show you the wall paintings I was talking about. They depict vivid scenes from heaven and hell. And if you look a bit closer, you can actually see all sorts of markings and drawings left by people throughout the centuries.
територия на Иверския грузински манастир в Атон. Там имаме наш манастир.
The Rozhen Monastery was once a thriving sanctuary for monks. If you head up to the second floor, you can actually see the old dining room where they used to gather to share their meals. It really makes you stop and wonder what life was like here hundreds of years ago. I forgot to mention that there is a little bit over a kilometer distance from the village to the monastery, and you have to walk that unless you are coming by car. But let's say if you're coming with a tour, you definitely have to walk this by foot. It can be a little bit steep for elderly people, and the monastery is for men. On the way back to the village, you will have these incredible sand cliffs right before your eyes. It's honestly such an epic view. And well, this is exactly where I've chosen to end this vlog. I'm so excited for the next one though, because I'm planning to film it with a brand new camera. It's going to be a huge upgrade in quality, and since I'm getting the camera next month, I can't wait to show you the difference. Thanks for being part of this journey, and see you on the next adventure.